And we are live. Hi everyone, my name is Monika R, and I'm a Global Director for Communities for Women in Tech. And I'm really happy to welcome you today with us. We have amazing person and a stylist, Sara Serafimovska. She is founder of StyleSipher, and she has vast knowledge of psychology and design and so on. She studied in US and USA, so she has a lot of things to share. And today we have a really interesting topic. It's called Dress for Success, or the psychology of our of presence. So bear with us, and again, I will leave the floor now to Sara. Sara, can you introduce yourself and also tell us a little bit more about you?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I hope everyone can hear me okay. My name is Sara Serafimovska, as Monika already said. I'm a certified fashion psychologist and founder of StyleSipher. My background is in fashion communication in New York that I studied in Parsons. And I also studied my postgrad in applied psychology and fashion in London. And over the years, I've worked across fashion, styling, and also fashion tech. So today we have a very interesting topic, very close to my heart. It's called Dress for Success, the Psychology of Presence. And we will get started. So today I'm actually not going to talk about trends or shopping. I'm only going to be talking about presence, more specifically, how style influences the way we are perceived, how we feel, and how we move through professional spaces. So the first thing we want to talk about is why style matters. And to kind of say it in very blunt terms that you would understand is if code is a language, then style is communication. I thought that this was very fun to say, so I had to add it here. But whether intentional or not, people begin interpreting visual signs way before we speak. So on that note, there's two researchers, Ambadi and Rosenthal, in 1992, that all actually came up with the idea to test how far go first impressions, and they came up with the process of measuring that. And it turns out that first impressions are actually formed within the first 3 seconds of people seeing us. So it's really important before we introduce ourselves, people are already forming impressions about confidence, competence, creativity, and authority. So something I'd like to kind of do a little exercise on with you is, what do you think of this woman? I'll take a couple seconds, but how would you describe her? What do you see? So the way that I've described her, and we can also probably see in the comments later how you have as well, is that she seems sophisticated, she seems elegant, she seems clean, well put together, well groomed. But my mind doesn't stop right there. My mind goes a little bit further. So I'm going to add a little bit of an inflection of what this might mean to me. So I might also mean that maybe she looks sweet. Maybe she looks smart. Maybe she looks tactical because she knows how to dress in a specific situation. Because she's wearing a suit, maybe she looks powerful. And she also looks professional based off the way that she's presenting herself. So based off of this, we're not only giving physical attributes of what we're seeing, we're also inferring some deeper characteristics of how this person is, what their value is, and what they bring to the table. So this is what I want to say, that your presence speaks way before you do. And this brings me to the next effect. This is the looking glass self effect, which is made from Charles Horton Cooley, who's a researcher who found in 1902 that actually perception is more cyclical than we think. It's not just about how you present yourself, it's also about how others perceive you. Based on their response to you, you will actually then have feelings or emotions and perceptions about how you experience yourself. So it's not just about the perceptions of others and that's where it stops. It actually creates a deeper cyclical effect that also affects us back again. So the way that we present ourselves can influence our posture, our communication, our confidence, our energy, and the reactions we receive from others reinforce or hurt that experience. So this presence becomes more cyclical. And here I kind of want to ask you again another question is, have you ever felt your clothing change the way you performed? Maybe some of you experienced this before, maybe during an interview, maybe during a presentation, because you really liked your outfit, you performed a little bit better, or maybe because you weren't as confident in your outfit, you weren't as confident in the interview. It really takes a lot of shapes and forms into how this affects us. So I said a lot of things, gave you a lot of methods, effects. Now let's talk about actual fashion. Let's redefine power dressing. So modern power dressing is not actually what we think that it was before. Now it's a little bit different because the modern power dressing creates a little bit of a balance between authenticity and authority. So this is the modern spin that we have nowadays that we see in fashion. And for a long time, power dressing was associated with fitting into environments that were designed primarily by men, and it often meant dressing more rigidly, minimizing individuality, or disconnecting from femininity. But now the modern power dressing looks a little bit different. And you can see here the examples that I've added. We're playing a little bit with color. We're adding different textures. We're adding silk. We're adding leather. We're playing with the way that the silhouette flows. We're adding some belts. We're adding accessories. So we're being a little bit more bold, and we're adding a little bit more uniqueness into our outfits in the modern power dressing. So now I'm going to go into the myth of power dressing, which I kind of alluded to before. We have many women actually, who still think that power is associated with some outdated ideas of professionalism. And the idea to be taken seriously is that women need to look overly corporate, overly rigid, overly masculine, or disconnected from their personality in order to perform well. And that's not the case. Professionalism is evolving, and today the most memorable people are usually very recognizable and not identical. So power dressing is not becoming a costume, it's more of a visual alignment. This means that in our modern power dressing, we are dressing a lot with intentionality. We have more personal identity. We're doing it with comfort and confidence. We are not sacrificing that. And we're doing it strategically. So we're not overspending to buy the latest pieces. We're picking strategic pieces that are very unique to us, and we're using that to kind of boost our confidence and our uniqueness. So next, now I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise. I think it's going to be very fun. And it's basically the difference between an outdated and modern presence, which is usually not as dramatic, but you'll see here in some of the images that the difference is big. So I've pulled these images from various shows or actresses just to kind of allude to something that we've already seen, so you can kind of get the visual effect a little bit stronger. So in the outdated section, we have, I don't know if all of you watched the show Office, but we have Pam in a very typical Pam outfit, and it's a very minimalist gray ensemble with heels. This is something that was probably praised before as a very normal outfit that you wear to work. But in the modern presence, we have a little bit of a twist. So the picture that I've chosen is Meghan Markle in Suits. And it's the same gray skirt, but in the modern presence, it's more fitted. It's better fitting the woman's body. Instead of a shirt that's untucked, we have a cardigan that we tuck, and instead of stripes, we have one stripe following the body very nicely, very elegantly. And you can see how one image onto the next can have such a big difference into the way a woman will present herself. And this style, I would say, is called a little bit of an elevated minimalism. So if someone is interested into minimalism, this would be probably a good choice for them. The next one is this pink suit with a pink bag and these very, very bad wedges. Would not wear wedges to work that look like this. Specifically, open toe shoes are not as good nowadays as they were maybe before. And in the modern presence, we have a little bit of a twist. So this is what we would suggest. It's still in the same kind of pink family. So this is more burgundy, I would say. But the fit of it is playing a very big role into the way that the modern presence is more elevated, more sophisticated. It follows the body. It doesn't accentuate anything in a bad way. And then we also have another pop of color, which is a light pink. So it kind of plays a little bit on that uniqueness factor. Maybe some of you like to play with colors, so maybe this is a good way to present this. And I would say in a more corporate or more work-oriented vibe, we would definitely want to stick with 2 colors max per outfit. We don't want more than 2. Like in the outdated one, we have black, pink, we have metal accessories, and also we have beige wedges. It's too much. And the next and the final example, just wanted to pick a very classic suit, black classic suit with a white crisp shirt. It's outdated because we just don't wear this much of a skinny fit anymore. It doesn't suit the person that well. It doesn't say luxury, it doesn't say elevated, it doesn't say sophisticated. It's a little bit more edgy. So in the modern presence, how this would look like would be like this, where we have a suit that follows the body, it elongates the legs, and instead of a white crisp shirt, we actually have a satin or a silk shirt that's a little bit unbuttoned. I wouldn't suggest to unbutton it this much for work environment, but you can also add a little tank top underneath just for safety. But just want to say how this looks a little bit better than the previous outdated look, and I'm sure that you would agree. Okay, now that we've seen a lot of examples, we're going to go into the next slide, and that's okay. So we've seen the examples. How do we apply this in our everyday? Now we're going to go into the main 3 elements of modern dress. How do we actually apply it, especially in environments that still have professional expectations and limitation? Strong modern presence usually comes down to 3 elements, and that is clarity, consistency, and authenticity. And these 3 things shape how people experience us visually, professionally, and as you can see, none of them are trend-based. They're all identity-based. And this is the difference between what a stylist does and what a fashion psychologist does. The fashion psychologist goes deeper into the person, the character, the physical attributes, the vision for the client. We want to understand you deeply, and then we want to make sure that your style is according to how you should present. So going into the first portion, which is clarity. Clarity begins with self-awareness. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to create an entirely different identity for professional purposes. But the goal is not to become someone else at work. No, the goal is to refine your identity within a professional environment. So now we're going to look at different ways, different styling guides that you might be able to go into a little bit better, or you might identify which you like. All right, so here, different women might feel comfortable with or confident in different style directions. That's totally okay. You can also mix and match. You don't have to stay specifically in one style, but I just want to, make sure that I'm outlining all of these styling directions clearly for you, so then you have more knowledge and more creative control over your choices. So the first one is elevated minimalism. We see this a lot in a lot of the corporate higher end sections. And this is characterized mostly with very clear lines, very basic palette, red, white, black, navy, a little bit more conservative in body showing. So very minimal, as I said. And I personally like it a lot. And this specifically is from Todd's. I don't know if you know the brand, but also at the end of this presentation, we have a whole guide with all of the different brands that these styling directions fall under that Monika will send to you just for you to have as a resource, because we think it's going to alleviate some of the pain points of finding items, figuring it out. So hopefully that will help. The next styling direction would be soft power. Soft power is considered to be a little bit more ambiguous, a little bit more asymmetrical. It should accentuate the power of a woman. And most of the time, these pieces tend to be mixed with more structured pieces. So, for example, this top would go very well with a suit. And it would create this unique experience that, no one has this kind of top. It's specifically for you, so it creates this unique moment. Another styling direction is the creative executive direction. And for anyone who's an entrepreneur, who has their own business, who's trying to move up, but still wanting to really preserve their uniqueness, this is probably the styling direction to go. And this styling direction is mostly curated with very specific and unique pieces. And as you can see, all of these pieces are already unique, even independently. So we have this blue pant, we have this scarf bag, we also have this very oversized blazer with a clasp waist belt. So all of them are very unique by themselves, but even when you combine them together, the whole outfit just looks very creative, very unique. And this is not for anyone who wants to fit in. This is for someone that wants to definitely stand out. And then the last one is modern femininity. Modern femininity is a juxtaposition between strong, sharp lines and also elements such as comfortable fabrics or very feminine fabrics like lace or silk. We also have nude or beige tones, light pink, dust pink. So something that creates this sharpness and then also juxtaposed by something that creates softness. And I really personally like that one because I love playing with two opposites. All right. Then we're going into the next section, and that's consistency. Consistency builds recognition and trust. So I can give you an example of someone that's very basic to understand this example, but the Queen of Britain, she has the most simple like suit pieces, and they're always the same. But she just does them in a different color, and that creates this familiarity with her people that creates some closeness with them. Like almost they know her because they expect that she's going to wear the same thing again. And it creates this familiarity that's very warm and wholesome. So it creates this, it shortens the distance between that person. And for examples, here we have Victoria Beckham. I'm sure most of you know her. David Beckham's wife, also a very, very established designer. I just wanted to showcase how she's basically wearing the same thing most of the time in different versions, but she also creates this she creates this communication of discipline, of refinement, of authority. So now when you buy her piece, or if you have something of hers, of her brand, you will also feel that way because she is already very strongly positioned and communicates loud. Another person that I can give as an example is Whitney Wolfe Herd. She is the CEO of Bumble. It's a dating app where women are prioritized. Great. And what is she known for? She's known for implementing yellow every time when it's possible. And I really like that because her app is yellow. It's representative with a bee. She has these bee-like, beehive-like graphic prints, floral prints, very on brand. And I really like that because every time you see her, if she's wearing yellow, you will immediately think of her brand. So what she communicates is she communicates her brand, she communicates playfulness, she communicates authenticity. And the last person I would like to showcase is Emma Grede. She's founder and CEO, co-founder of Good American, the jean brand with Khloe Kardashian. The reason why I have her is because I think she's a really good mix between both of the previous examples that we've mentioned, she, excuse me, she has very good tailoring. So she's very known about her strong tailoring, very like basic minimalist pieces. But then on the other hand, she wants to seem approachable. So she wears a lot of denim. She's promoting her brand. She's wearing some stripes to seem more relatable. So what she communicates is modern leadership, sophistication, intentionality. Moving into the third step, which is authenticity. Authenticity is what makes presence sustainable. So when people feel disconnected from what they wear, it often affects confidence and communication. So authenticity is not actually about dressing casually or ignoring professionalism. It's more about allowing personality to still exist within professional environments. And I will show you how that looks like. So authenticity, it should be the alignment between the self and the environment. It should not be more one or the other. It should kind of be both. And honestly, this is a good example of how you should think about dressing yourself when there's a specific event or environment. It should be always a combination between you, your uniqueness, and the environment or the place where you're going. All right. And this is basically how we can add our individuality into corporate or work environments, male dominated fields. If we don't feel too confident expressing ourselves through our clothes, this is where we can shine. So personal style often lives in the details. And it's mostly the accessories, the jewelry, the eyewear, the bags, the shoes. If you wear a red bag every day, no matter your outfit, you are immediately recognizable. You are the person with the red bag. And also, red means a lot of fortune. So that's also probably good. Personal style is often built through these small intentional details. And because if you repeat it consistently over time, it's going to be part of your uniqueness, part of your personality, part of your person as a whole. So that's really good. So the final takeaways, I would say, from all of this information that we just talked about should be this. If you don't remember anything, let's remember this. So style equals communication. Style speaks way before you do. Personal style should evolve with your environment, not disappear within it. So we want to bring that piece of us into every environment. The strongest presence is the one that feels aligned. If you feel good, if you feel confident within yourself and the way that you're dressed, you will feel the most present and people will see that. You know, we talked about that cyclical effect. People will have really good perception of you because you feel confident, and then that will fuel you even more. And the last thing is authenticity and authority can coexist. We're using different pieces and clothing to create that authenticity, and we're also creating authority by using suiting, by using minimalist lines, clean shapes, so we can merge both of those to coexist together. Thank you for listening. And I hope that this presentation encouraged you to think a little bit more about style, not as vanity, but as communication. And ultimately, style is not about becoming someone else. It's more about visually supporting who you already are. So if anyone else has questions, I think we can probably have questions now. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sara. I think we need to pause a little bit and to say, oh my God, like, so I just want to say that with us, we have people from San Francisco, Ghana, Colombia, also Nigeria. So bear with us. Also, we have Europe countries, Germany, Macedonia, of course, Kazakhstan. So it's amazing to see all the world following this session with us today. And I'm sure that they will have also many questions in the field. So I would say, I would ask you probably the first question from us. What would you suggest for any person, any woman in tech out there in the world that wants to start dressing more stylish, like more themselves also, but also in line with what's modern nowadays, in order to feel more powerful? How they can find what's their signature, as the red bag is for someone, what to find that it or wow thing for them?
Okay,
What's your
that's a good question. So the first thing that I usually do whenever I have private clients is the most foundational part, and that is taking away the items in your closet that don't make you happy. So kind of Mary Kondoing it, basically taking out stuff that just don't align anymore, don't feel you. If you take those pieces out, your closet becomes a little bit more intentional, and it's easier to mix and match pieces that make you feel confident. So the first thing is taking out the things that don't make you feel happy, don't make you feel confident, don't fit anymore, don't look good on you anymore. We're taking those out and we're looking at what is left, what is making you feel good. Then we start building on top of that. So the first thing is actually reducing, and then it's building on top of it.
perfect? I have a comment here as a mom, and which got a little bit more weight after that.
Mhm.
I keeping my clothes in order for me to. Oh my God, I'm keeping that. That some days I will. Someday I will be more slimmer in order to get in that. What do you suggest for the moms who had this overweight period after? Should
Um,
we put that
yeah.
in the box and?
I've actually had clients, specifically women clients. This is the main thing that often happens, and their body changes, with time, with age, with certain situations. Body is normal to change. I would say do not hang on to anything that is not fitting you the way it should. You will buy more things later, but you need clothes that are fitting you at this moment. If you're keeping the clothes that already are not fitting you and keeping them in future, it's not actually motivating you, it's demotivating you, because you still don't have anything else to wear. You have this idea that you're going to lose weight, but at the same time there's nothing in your closet that's going to make you go, okay, let me go out, let me have fun. So you're putting yourself in this depressive episode where you're not going to feel happy until you lose that weight, and we don't know when that's going to happen. So we're keeping your happiness on lock until you get to that point, and that's often not a very good strategy to do. So I would say, if you have close friends, if you have anyone that's probably the same size, donate them to your friend, and it's you're going to feel better because it's going to be fresh energy that you're going to buy after. You're going to feel much more refreshed.
Wow, I love this because you also mentioned the psychology behind it, the demotivation factor,
Yeah.
especially if you keep them, and it seems that great, perfect. One more question, Sarah.
Mhm.
There are many types of color skins, many types of hair, and some clothes, specific colors
Mhm.
are suit us better.
Mhm.
What do you suggest for all our women in tech out there to see how they can check which color fits them more? Because some people like the color yellow, as you mentioned, for
Yeah.
the authenticity, but maybe
Mhm.
some shade of the color of yellow is not
Mhm.
fitting us. So,
Mhm.
what would you suggest us with this as well?
Yes. So oftentimes people go on ChatGPT and they will, see if they can do the color analysis. Oftentimes, because it's not done properly, it gives you bad results. So the fastest way to do it is to check your arms here on your wrist and see whether the veins on your wrist are giving more green, more blue, or are a mixture. That way, you will see whether you're a cool or a warm tone. So if you have more of a green vein, then that means that you have more yellow, you're more warm. If you have more blue, more purple, that means that you're more of a cool tone. But sometimes people can't actually see the veins, whether that's because of just their anatomy or something like that. And in that case, I would suggest to go to a professional to get their colors checked, because we have different panels that we try on you in a specific lighting where you can see exactly how those colors impact your face, your features, and you will see immediately the difference in the color range.
Perfect. We have questions from the audience, and the first question is like, do you have any recommendations on brands
Mhm.
which look incredible but don't break the bank?
Yep.
Um, maybe
Yeah.
also recommend someone brands who have also nice material and so on. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, hopefully, Monica, you will be able to distribute this to everyone watching. But we made a specific guide for everyone that's present here. And in that guide, you have all of those styling directions that we mentioned earlier. And we also have brands that are high-end brands and lower market brands that are affordable for everyone to see and check out. Hopefully they, are available in all of the countries where you're from. If not, you can personally contact me on my email, contact@stylesipher.com, and I will suggest more.
Great. I will write the email,
Yeah.
and if you want, you can also share the guideline at the moment, or if you have it.
One
Yeah.
second. Yes, I have it.
There's also one question from Shita. Her name is: do you think dressing for success looks different depending on industry, culture, age, or career level?
Yes, it does look differently, but it also has a lot to do with your perception of it. If you think that a specific industry deserves more creative clothes or something like that, then you will probably think that that industry should be more like that. So it really depends on your perception. But at the same time, specifically for our presentation today, if you're working in tech, we want to make sure that you're slightly conservative. Like, we want to make sure that we're following the rules of standard dressing. So I'm not showing shoulders, I'm not showing mini skirts, I'm not showing overly accessorized or jewelry pieces that are overwhelming the outfit. I'm still trying to be very conservative with what I'm showing, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm, drastic enough to show you all of those styling directions, because it's really important. And at the end of the day, I think thank you for this question, but I think it's more important for you how you feel in that specific field than what your perception is of how people dress in that specific field. If you're more of a creative person, obviously you're going to feel better if you have something creative on you that keeps you grounded to who you are. If you're not a creative person, if you're more rigid, if you're more minimal, then maybe more corporate dressing is going to be the way to go. But it really depends on your perception of yourself and on that industry. So yes, there's very different levels to various industries, various cultures, different countries, but it's all about how you feel in a specific outfit. It's not about looking outward, it's about looking inward.
Wow, I love this, because that's the way how the style should make us to feel more us, and even more emphasize the strengths that we are having, the way we
Yeah.
want to feel. Um, so there are many comments which are, oh my god, I like this, I like this style, and so on. What kind of materials do you recommend for a more tropical weather with
Mm.
more heat waves than raining days?
Yes, that's very good. And is this for a work environment, or is this just in general?
There's no
Oh, I can
specifications.
talk about both. Yes. So we want to make sure that we're mindful of the materials, and we also want to make sure that you're feeling comfortable. Like I said, being comfortable and confident is really important in this. So obviously, for tropical weather, we want to prioritize cotton. We want to prioritize linen. We want to prioritize materials that are more natural. However, depending on where you live, I'm not sure. It's really difficult nowadays to get very pure fabrics due to overpopulation of fast fashion stores and whatnot. So, if you're very confident that you're able to scout out pieces even in those fast fashion stores, then I would say 100% cotton, 100% linen. You can also do mixed linen blends, or mixed cotton blends. That's also fine, because most of the pieces are mostly like that nowadays. But if you can afford a little bit, something that's a little bit more quality, then I would suggest maybe choosing something intentionally. Like, for example, in Massimo Dutti, it's an Italian Spanish brand. They have a lot of linen pieces, and they might cost a little bit more. But for example, if you splurge a little bit on a linen blazer, in in a work environment, that would look really good. If you splurge a little bit on a linen dress, that would also look probably really good because it's going to flow, it's going to breathe, you're not going to feel suffocated, you're going to feel free. So just work with those materials, linen, cotton, and all of the blends that have linen and cotton. Mostly the majority of it should be either cotton or linen.
I want to also emphasize this comment because I think you can answer it. There's one comment who says you can also be a cool color type with warm veins. So maybe emphasize the fact that you can switch the depending on the weather. But
Yes. So you can be a neutral. You can be you can have your veins because they're closer to your hand. The color on the skin of the hand is not the same as the color of your face. So it's really important to understand what you want to do. You can either do something like what I do is I'm actually a cooler type on my face, but I'm a warmer tone on my hands and on my body. So what I do is I would take a warmer tone foundation and something that's light, and I will put it all over my face. So that way, my skin on my body and my skin on my face is all merged together. So I prefer to be a warm tone rather than a cool tone. So there's multiple things that go into it. Also, if you're in summer and you tan very well, that can change your color. You can become more warm. So it really depends on an individual basis. It's best to do it with a professional.
perfect. There's one comment regarding the linen. I can show it actually. What's your view about breezy linen clothing at work, especially for midlife woman leaders?
Ooh, okay. I love this question because a lot of women think that if they're a leader in their industry, they have to dress with suiting or very serious with a lot of lines and etc. And that's not the case. If you feel like you are more confident in breezy linen clothing, then we work with that. You find your unique stamp and we go with that. It's better for you if you continue with your breezy linen clothing. I will mention it that way because I like it. I like the phrase. But it's better to continue with that because you will create this, what we talked about, familiarity. You will repeat them and people will start noticing you more. So now when someone sees you outside, they will say, oh, this person I know, because they're familiar with the way that you're dressing yourself, and it makes it easier for them to remember you. So I would say go for it. Maybe just be careful of specific situations, like in some work environments you're not able to show your shoulders, and you're not supposed to show above your knees. So keep those things in mind, but I am a big proponent about being comfortable and being unique.
We have a question from Jessica. Oh, Jessica, hi. She's from Latam. How
Mhm.
about sneakers, either skirts or formal attire? What do you suggest?
Sneakers, either skirts or formal attire. Is the question, should sneakers go with skirts or formal attire? Um,
Maybe what's your opinion on whether a
Sneakers.
woman should wear either
Mhm.
sneakers or skirts together,
Mhm.
these two together in an office or so on?
I've had this conversation with Monika before, specifically about sneakers, and we've talked about it for a little bit because Monika likes to be comfortable, and I love that. So what I've told her is that there is specific types of sneakers that are good for work environment and specific ones that are not. I've seen this multiple times with my clients, and it's mostly about other people's perceptions of how the sneaker feels and looks. So, for example, if you wear a sneaker that is all white with a white sole and white leather on top, that is minimal with not too many lines or logos, you can probably get away with it, especially if you wear like pants or long pants that are, not showing the sneaker too much. It's doable. If you're wearing all black sneakers, unfortunately, it's perceived to be more of sign of how do I say, people who are in the service industry. So for women who are leaders, we want to make sure that your sneakers are white, they're always looking fresh, and they're always put together well. So it's going to take a little bit of cleaning because white sneakers tend to get dirty, but you can probably pull it off. So I would say you can do it, go for it, but make sure to keep them clean.
Wow, thank you, Sarah, for this. I think
Mhm.
everybody can be relaxed now that they can actually use sneakers as well.
Yes.
It's a really good time to use fashion for also to be comfortable in it.
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
Jessica also commented that how about following fashion with a body that is not suitable for a specific design?
Um, I'm probably understanding this that specific body types are not. Sorry, I'm maybe not understanding it right, but Monica, could you?
Yeah, sorry. I think it's more about do you suggest like what I guess should we follow fashion even though our
I
body
see.
or
I see. So, I, for example, am not a very skinny person. I'm actually more on the plus size side. So, I try to style myself in a way that my silhouette works with me and works for me. So, it's really important to, if you'd like to work with a stylist or a fashion psychologist, to kind of understand how to work with your body, because not everyone has the perfect hourglass shape. But what I can tell you, in short, basically to kind of give you some direction, is you can ultimately style yourself the way that it looks best. Most of the time, we want to prioritize the silhouette of the hourglass. So if you have a bigger lower bottom, then we want to focus on the top part to create that balance between the top being bigger and the bottom being bigger. If you have larger shoulders like I do, we want to make sure that we're styling A-line dresses or skirts, sorry, to create, sorry, 1 second. 1 second.
okay. And while we are here, we have also a few questions. I just want to remind you all once again that we have 15 more minutes if you want to ask something, Sarah, and so on. So write in the comments, and we'll be.
Yes.
And if there is any question that was actually asked and we didn't you're not satisfied or you wanna reassure that we're gonna move to it, let us know also. Um, Sarah, you
Yes, sorry about that. My
no
dog.
worries.
Okay. So we want to make sure that we're focusing on that hourglass silhouette. And as I said, for me, that I have larger shoulders, broader shoulders. So I want to make sure that I'm adding more volume on the bottom because I want to balance out my silhouette. So, oh, yes, perfect. So we want to make sure that we're always trying to align our features to look balanced. Something that I shouldn't do as a person who has broad shoulders is do skinny jeans. Skinny jeans would make me look like a lollipop. So that is something that I should not do. So it's always thinking about how to create that balance. We also saw with the pink suit of the outdated and the newer version how the lady, even though she was skinny, the suit was so skinny and so tight on her that it still didn't look good. So even having a perfect shape might not always say that she can wear anything. It's always about the fit of the clothes.
We have one question from Regina. What colors are suitable for a professional setting? Or is anything you like acceptable? What do you recommend?
Beautiful question. Very important. So, if you go to a bank, you will see that most of the women there do not wear bright colors. That is because they don't want to take away from the conversation. They want to make sure that you're clearly understanding what they're saying. So for example, in positions where you have to be focused on the person talking, speaking, making eye contact, conversating, asking questions, we want to make sure that we're using colors that are not too distracting. Because the moment you have a very distracting color, accent, or accessory, all of the attention goes there. So You can still create some uniqueness by creating different silhouettes, accessories, adding some prints. But if you're supposed to be the center of attention, it's always good to be a little bit more conservative with the way that you're styling yourself. That means conservative maybe in color, conservative in how much accessories you're using, conservative in how much jewelry you're using, because what you're talking about should be the most important thing that is being tracked, that is being heard, not the outfit. So the outfit shouldn't be as loud. You can always, focus on something. So for example, you can wear some colors if you like, or prints. I would suggest as close to your skin tone color type as possible. So for example, Regina, I would say that you're probably going to be dressing a little bit more with lighter colors because you have a lighter face and lighter hair color. So maybe colors that are not as harsh. So maybe avoid black color, maybe avoid a lot of burgundy, forest green. Something that is lighter would still be good for you, but you don't have to go too much overboard with prints or something like that, because it's going to take away from what you're talking about. So keeping in mind that you're able to wear colors. However, I would say keep it to a minimum of 2 colors per outfit, and try not to be as loud with prints, colors, accessories. Try not to do everything at once.
Thank you, Sarah. We have a few more questions, and this one is from, it's really good question. How do we make styling and everyday wear an easy decision? For me, it takes me time to create contrast. I have used a couple of apps, but again, it's an effort.
Yes, it's definitely an effort. I will probably repeat what I said before, but if you're feeling a little bit confused and not sure how to manage your styling on an everyday basis, and you don't want it to take that long, which I totally understand, is going back to the basics. You want to make sure that you have a capsule collection. So pieces that are up to like 10 pieces in your closet that are very functional for you and you can wear them. I think stripping it down to the basics is probably going to be your first step before adding more prints, more colors, more accessories. So you want to make sure that you know how to play with the basics first before you go forward and you want to experiment more. So if you take away clothes that you don't feel aligned with anymore and you lower your wardrobe, it's going to be probably a better decision for you rather than having a lot of items, because it's going to create some fatigue and you're not going to be able to understand how to merge and style and all of that. So creating less. Any
Perfect.
tips?
There's
Styling
also,
for
yes, this is another question also from her.
Mhm.
Any tips on styling for leadership roles? How do you dress to look like a boss?
Great question again. So first, we want to understand how your personality and your character is. We want to understand how you are on a daily basis. If you feel like you are you're not sure how to make a decision, you need a little bit more help into making a decision, you want to be more authoritative, then we want to take this into account, because it's going to translate into what kind of clothes we pick for you. So I'm addressing this as a stylist. You're my client, and I'm telling you, if you're less assertive, if you're more, oh, I'm not sure what to say, I'm not sure what to do, then we go with very bold elements. We go with large shoulders, very pointy. We go with suiting. We go with sharp heels or sharp flats, something that defines you more, because the moment you're going to wear those things, you're going to become that person. So we're using clothing to manipulate your character a little bit into the person that you see yourself being. If you find yourself to be a little bit too assertive, if you feel like they're calling you, oh, I'm making decisions too fast, I'm moving too fast, I need to slow down, I need to hear my team, then we go with flowy items, flowy materials. We like ruffles. We like materials that breathe. We like a little bit of movement, maybe softer silhouettes, flowy skirts, flowy ruffled tops, something that plays a little bit more on your femininity, because that's going to balance out your assertiveness. So it really depends on what your first starting point is, and then what your next vision should look like, how you vision yourself.
Wow. And more and more questions are coming, but we have 7 minutes. So
Okay.
4 questions are coming, Sarah. So let's answer
Okay,
this.
let's go through them fast. All right.
Yes. The
More
more
modern style looks.
yeah, you can
I can immediately start answering. Yes, you're right. The fast fashion brands tend to be more oversized and are always fitted on a model type of 170 centimeters tall and a very small frame. But for a petite person, that's going to be too tall. So what you want to do is, for anyone that's not a very model type figure, you want to make sure that you have some kind of um, uh, not fashion designer, but I'm going to say some kind of alteration person, like that can do alterations for you, and can fix some things that will be wrong in the original pieces. So, for example, probably the pants will be too long on you. So, you want to make sure that you're cutting them in the right place so they fit nicely on your leg. So, that's the first thing that we will have to do. The next thing that we will have to do is, sometimes women who have uh, larger hips, they tend to have a smaller waist. The waistband is oftentimes too big, so they have to cut that portion out. So there's we can work with fast fashion brands. We can pick items that are, that look good to us, but it doesn't mean that the fit is going to be good. So it's important to have a woman or a guy that can do alterations for you, that will make sure that the fit is exactly right. So there's no really like trick question to answer this. We just need someone that's going to make those alterations.
perfect. And then we have this, it's a big question, but I think it's also very good for us. For conference calls, what recommendations will you give according to hairstyle, hand movement, or kind of tops to use? And how do we best combine with woman in tech t-shirts to look formal? Because we usually have woman in tech t-shirts.
Uh-huh. Mhm. It really depends on how your style is, but I can say, okay, if it's not too formal, you can put a jeans and a blazer and it can look good with those t-shirts. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think it's actually pretty cool to implement those t-shirts in your calls. What recommendation will give according to hairstyle? Hairstyle really depends on the shape of your face, and also the color style also depends on the skin tone. It's best to talk to a colorist to make sure that you're getting exactly the right tones and the right shapes. But based off of your photo, I can say that curtain bangs might look good, and I think the color looks actually really good. You can also go with black, but I like brown on you, just as a reference. Hand movement or kind of tops to use. Hand movement, depending on your character again. If you see that you're too assertive, try to make your movements a little bit more flowy. If you're being more feminine, try to make your movements a little bit more pointy. It's all about the balance. And what kind of tops to use. Tops also, again, depending on your character. 1 second. Thank you. All right. So tops, I think, depends on what you feel comfortable in. If you want to use t-shirts, you can still use t-shirts. Sometimes in various environments, people also use band t-shirts if that's allowed. But you don't want to be too personal at work environments, because you want to make sure that you're still reserving some of your personal identity for yourself. Sometimes having too much upfront can hurt us.
And we have less than 2 minutes, but there's one big question. I think it could be very important for the person. What color for job interviews would you recommend for someone who is warm autumn in the color palette? I usually always take into consideration that interviews are over video and try to avoid dark colors or white and heavy patterns.
So for job interviews, you want to make sure that you're memorable. You want to make sure that you are in that interviewer's mind, and to be like that, you need colors that stay in your memory a little bit longer. Specifically, there's a psychological example for that they did on men, where the color red in men stays a lot longer in their memory. So specifically, if you have an interviewer that's a guy, having the color red on you will probably be a very positive thing, because they're going to remember you more. So I would say, based off of that research, any color that's more vibrant, so red, orange, also brown would be good for warm autumn, maybe some eggplant purple, colors like that are not neutrals, but something that's gonna pop a little bit more. And you can also, for warm autumn, you can also wear some gold jewelry, something that's gonna give a little bit of a glow. Thank you so much.
And if you want, like, we have 1 more minute. I think this is the last
One more question. Okay.
I like to wear a lot of pantsuits, blouses, and I'm one of the most chic in place, but I have rosé, light pink hair now. I wanted to make it my personal brand and stand out. What is your hot take on balancing that with wearing something suitable for the occasion?
Hello, Paulina. I've had a light rosé pink hair too, especially in corporate when I was working PR for Max Mara. So I definitely feel that. Honestly, it's not about the hair color. It's about how people perceive you. For me, it was fine. I didn't have any negative feedback. Sometimes people might call HR if it's that strict, but for most companies nowadays, it's not. So I love the choice that you made. In terms of styling yourself or choosing clothing, if you have rosé hair, you're probably going to be more on the lighter side. So I would say try to pick colors that are more, if you want to stay a little bit more corporate, you want to pick more neutrals. So that way your hair color is the only thing that stands out and you're not, a rainbow train altogether. But if you are feeling more bold, you can also try to implement some color. And then I would suggest being monochrome throughout your outfit. So if you're going to do a light pink sweater, I would suggest the same color of pant or burgundy, something that will kind of keep the same sophisticated feel all throughout your outfit.
Sara, I just want to say thank you so much for the insightful session. I really enjoyed, and I think that based on the answers and the viewers that we have, probably we're gonna have to repeat the session. We also have comments like, please bring Sara to our next Women in Tech Summit, which is happening in Brazil. So bear with us. I hope you can dress us with suggestions also for there, because it's gonna be very colorful edition.
Yes.
Last but not least, I want to say that I've sent your contact. So your email was contact@stylesipher.com. I think your website is in Macedonian.
Yes,
if it's
it
English,
is.
maybe also share it after. But I also shared your Instagram profile with everybody. And we're going to share also the style guide.
Yes.
I do hope that we have maybe if someone wants to share, I'm not sure that those who are with us on the LinkedIn Live, I think that we don't have their email, but they can definitely reach you, and maybe you can also share it, share the style guide with you. They can reach you also on LinkedIn. I will also tag your name in the comments, and maybe you can also continue seeing the comments, which are really good, by the way. And again, maybe for the last thing, I want you to suggest that us in 3 sentences. What would you do after this session if you really want to change and feel refreshed in your style and so on? So the first one was clean your closet, remove the outdated and smaller size or bigger size of the clothes. Second would be Do you have brands that you recommend? But you also have this in brand. I think
You
everybody
guys, yes.
covered.
I think it's a personal preference, and also it really depends on the person's budget. I don't want to, force someone to buy something that they're not comfortable buying. It's always up to them. So that's why I don't always share brands. But yes, you were right. So first we want to reduce, then we want to make sure that the items that are left, we are able to style them and feel comfortable for us. And the third one, we want to make sure that we're elevating. So we want to go to the store and we want to, shop around, and we want to find items like maybe accessories or anything that would really pull that authentic thread and really, showcase our uniqueness in the outfit. So whether that's a red bag or a pointy heel or some kind of scarf that we wear often, really find your mark and repeat it. Don't be afraid to repeat it. It's more sustainable to repeat it. People will remember you more, and it creates a little bit of a closeness with others. So I would suggest those are the top three.
Thank you. And I also so I remember also the advices you also gave to me is that first you have to check what kind of color fits you, whether your hair and so on, the contrast, that maybe the perfect color fits what fits you. Then you suggested also buying some items maybe with a person who is knowledgeable in styling as well,
And
and
color theory. Yeah.
preparing, like make sure you know the combinations before, so you don't have to choose something really when you are rushing or you have lesser time for preparing. Make sure you have it there so you can directly open it, put it on yourself and wear it.
Yeah.
And I do remember that you were also saying that there are different kind of shades of red, so red lipstick too is really a good choice for being more confident, but choose the right
Shade. Yeah.
shade, yes, and red. And last but not the least, I know that if someone wants to get a styling session, they can also reach you. You're also helping people. Your experience is huge also in dressing up very powerful people around the world, in US, in UK. And I know that you also help people to choose which brand fit them based on the country and tradition and religion. So I also want to encourage everybody to reach you if they are interested in getting even more step forward to being more professional. And on behalf of Women in Tech, I just want to say thank you so much that you gather all the world, or all our women in tech around the world. You inspired us to be better at our workplace, also with our potential interview or potential standout key session or live session as this. And Sarah, once again, thank you so much. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing you all on the next month edition of the Growth Series. Bye bye, everybody, and have a great weekend.
Bye.